Imagine a world where your thoughts, your memories, your very essence could be manipulated against your will. This is not science fiction, but a chilling reality for victims of MK Ultra, the CIA's clandestine mind control program. Launched in the early 1950s, MK Ultra sought to control human behavior through a horrifying cocktail of drugs, hypnosis, and torture. This essay delves into the dark heart of this project, exploring the ethical abyss it plunged into, the devastating impact on its victims, and the lingering shadow it casts on our world today. The program's existence remained largely unknown until 1975, when a congressional investigation exposed its horrifying activities. The subsequent revelations sent shockwaves across the nation, exposing a government program that rivaled the most sinister plots of dystopian novels. MK Ultra was more than just a series of experiments. It was a systematic assault on the human psyche, driven by a dangerous cocktail of Cold War paranoia and a thirst for power. Driven by the belief that they could create the perfect soldier or agent capable of resisting interrogation and manipulating enemies, the CIA ventured into uncharted and deeply unethical territories. The program's architects, driven by a dangerous mix of ambition and fear, disregarded the fundamental principles of human rights, leaving behind a trail of shattered lives and a legacy of shame. At the heart of MK Ultra's horrors are the stories of its victims, individuals unknowingly subjected to unimaginable psychological torture. One such victim was Frank Olson, a brilliant biowarfare expert working for the CIA. In 1953, Olson was unwittingly given LSD, a potent hallucinogen, as part of an MK Ultra experiment. The experience triggered a severe psychological breakdown in Olson, leading to his mysterious death days later. Another tragic case is that of Linda McDonald, an unsuspecting young woman who sought treatment for postpartum depression. Instead of receiving proper care, she became an unwitting participant in MK Ultra experiments, subjected to intensive drug cocktails and electroshock therapy. Linda's mental health deteriorated drastically. Her story, like those of countless others, highlights the program's callous disregard for human life and dignity. These victims, often drawn from vulnerable populations like prisoners, mental health patients, and even unsuspecting civilians, were stripped of their autonomy and subjected to unimaginable horrors. The CIA, operating under a veil of secrecy, justified these atrocities in the name of national security, claiming that the ends justified the means. However, the program's deeply flawed premise and its horrific consequences paint a different picture, one of unchecked ambition and a chilling disregard for human life. The true extent of MK Ultra's reach remains shrouded in secrecy, as many of the program's records were destroyed in 1973 under the orders of then CIA Director Richard Helms. This systematic erasure of evidence makes it difficult to fully comprehend the program's scope and the true number of its victims. However, the testimonies of survivors and the fragments of information that have come to light paint a grim picture of a government agency operating outside the bounds of law and morality. The methods employed by MK Ultra researchers were as shocking as they were inhumane. Subjects were subjected to a horrifying array of experiments, often without their knowledge or consent. High doses of LSD, electroshock therapy, and sensory deprivation were just a few of the tools used to manipulate and control the minds of these unwitting participants. One of the most disturbing aspects of MK Ultra was the use of LSD. Researchers believed that the drug could be used to unlock hidden parts of the mind, potentially making it possible to control a person's thoughts and actions. Subjects were given LSD without their knowledge, often in social settings or while undergoing therapy, leading to terrifying and unpredictable experiences. This reckless experimentation with a powerful hallucinogen had devastating consequences, leaving many victims with long-term psychological trauma. Beyond LSD, MK Ultra researchers explored various methods of mind control, including hypnosis, electroshock therapy, and sensory deprivation. These techniques, often used in conjunction with powerful drugs, aim to break down an individual's sense of self, making them more susceptible to suggestion and manipulation. The experiments were conducted in secret facilities across the United States and Canada, often in universities and hospitals. hidden in plain sight. These experiments were not just ethically reprehensible, but also scientifically dubious. The program's reliance on secrecy and its disdain for established scientific protocols meant that much of the research was poorly documented and lacked proper controls. Even today, the full extent of MKUltra's activities and the long-term consequences of its experiments remain largely unknown, shrouded in a veil of secrecy and government obfuscation. MKUltra's legacy extends far beyond the immediate horrors inflicted upon its victims. The program's systematic abuse of power and its blatant disregard for ethical boundaries left an enduring stain on the CIA's reputation and eroded public trust in the government. The revelation of MKUltra's existence sparked outrage and fueled a growing sense of distrust towards authority, particularly within the context of the Vietnam War and the Watergate scandal. The program's impact on its victims was particularly devastating. Many suffered long-term psychological damage, including PTSD, anxiety, depression, and dissociative disorders. The trauma inflicted upon these individuals often had ripple effects, impacting their families and communities for generations. The CIA's efforts to cover up its crimes further compounded the suffering of victims, denying them justice and the opportunity for closure. The systematic destruction of MKUltra records in 1973, ordered by then CIA Director Richard Helms, only deepened the conspiracy surrounding the program. This act of deliberate obfuscation hindered subsequent investigations and made it nearly impossible to hold those responsible accountable for their actions. The lack of transparency fueled public distrust and suspicion, leading many to believe that the full truth about MKUltra remains hidden. The legacy of MKUltra serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of ethical boundaries in scientific research. The program's horrific practices and the subsequent cover-ups highlight the need for transparency and accountability within government agencies, ensuring that such egregious violations of human rights never occur again.